We are back here with a new video, and if you remember in our last video we have saw how to install a node 1 cluster. I mean to say we have installed our SQL cluster in our node 1, and to make it a failover cluster we have to add that particular SQL cluster to other nodes as well. In my case it is SQL ABFCI, if you see here, which already we spoke. So we have installed in this SQL A in our last video. Now we'll add this SQL cluster, the named instance, sorry, the default instance cluster, which is SQL ADB, to this SQL ABFCI to make the cluster work. Okay, let me minimize this and go back to my SQL ABFCI. So A is done. Now I'm SQL ABFCI. Let me minimize the other VMs. So this is my SQL ABFCI. Let me maximize this. Okay, and what I have to do, I have to copy, or if you already have one, open the same setup file, copy it here. So this is my SQL Server setup file. Now if you remember in our last video we chose this option, new SQL failover cluster. Okay, but this option is already done because we have installed in our first node, single node. Now second option is, for this single node we have to add a multiple node, so that we are going to do using this option, add node to the SQL failover cluster. That means launch a wizard to add a node to an existing SQL failover cluster. So I'll click this and I'll follow the wizard. Okay, let me minimize this, and I have installed SSMS here as well. Make sure you install the SSMS. If you don't know how to do, watch our previous video, or you can follow the article my website. There also I have made article on how to install and download SSMS. Okay, I'll include server product. Let us check and hit next. So the checks has been completed. If there is an error, as I told, you can't move next. So I think so I have no problem. I'll hit next. So here it came specify a few version. So I'll go with developer and I will hit terms and condition. And then as you can see, it already chose this particular node because we have other nodes as well. Don't focus on that in your if you're following this video, you will not see this, you will just see this. Okay, so as you can see, it is default instance. As you can see, SQL Server named instance, it is default, and this node which we are going to add MS SQL AB FCI. Okay, but when you try to add using MS SQL Server from client machine, you can't use this because it is default. So for the default we have to use the client name. If you remember, we have configured SQL ADB. In this case, you can see here it is a cluster network access. So we should always use cluster network access name to connect, because if you use the machine name, right, so machine name is part of many SQL failover cluster, so we don't know where it is connected, and manually we can't come and connect here using SQL failover cluster by seeing here which node currently holding the SQL. That is the reason we'll make it work on SQL network name. So that is the architecture of the SQL FCI. Okay, that is the reason you are seeing here MS SQL. We'll talk about named instance as well. That is additional video, as I told. You can leave it default, no need to change anything, you can't change at all. So hit next. Once I hit next, the DHCP server will come, so we can't change here as well because it is coming from the actual node 1 which we have configured. Okay, if you want you can put this. Let me put the password here and I'll hit next to proceed further with the installation, and it will run some checks. And as you can see, we got the final result here, what it is going to do, adding a node, developer edition, and all these things is there. Let me hit install. And once this installation is complete, I will come back and I will show you how this SQL failover cluster works. And this is the complete end for our video. Once this is done, we are good to go. You are smart enough to understand how SQL failover configuration is done from beginning to starting and how this works. Okay, you can play around later with this, the way how I will do, installing multiple instances and playing with it. So once the installation is done, I will show you that. Let the installation complete. Meanwhile, you install the SSMS and come back and be ready to test this. We are back and we can see the installation has been succeeded. Now this particular node SQL AB FCI is part of our cluster. Okay, let me close this and proceed further with the demo. Okay, so as you can see, we have installed this particular node, and currently if you see, the owner node is SQL A, and we are on SQL ABFCI. Now what I will do is, now we have installed this particular node. Suppose if something goes wrong to this node, I want to switch back to SQL B ABFCI. Either you can go with, you can test it manually from here itself by doing a test failover, or you can just directly, if this node is able to move, I mean to say, just click on this and you can see we have 3 different nodes, but we have not installed on B, so we can ignore that. That is for our other video. So currently I want to move this to this node, which is in our case SQL ABFCI, as you can see. So I'll hit this and I'll okay. and you can see it will start moving to this particular node. And currently you can see the owner node is SQL ABFCI and the status is pending. So let us give it some time. So as you can see, now we have successfully moved to our SQL ABFCI and it is running on this particular machine. Let me open configuration manager and I will show you that as well. So this is a configuration manager, and under the services you can find these services are running. And now if I go back to my SQL A, it will not be running. It will be in stop state. So whenever something happen to this machine, it will move back to that machine, which we are going to see within a minute. Okay. So what I will do is, let me open SSMS first and let me create one database, sample database. We didn't test that as well. Randomly, I'll create some database. Let me connect to my default instance. In my case, this is this, and I will do right click, new query I will do, and I will just type one command to get the to create a new database, and then we'll try to test the failover cluster. Okay, create database SQL FPI test, and I'll hit this. Once I run this, the database will get created, and let me now run a simple query to insert some values in that. Okay, create table employee. Okay, let me switch back this to my actual database which you created. So this is the one SQL ABI. Let me execute, as you can see. And now if I go back here, you will find the database SQL ABI test, and under this we will find that particular table. Let me db.employees and db.table. Let me show you that as well. As you can see, we have this number of data, and under employees we'll be having certain data. So currently we have around 14 employees. So we have created database. Okay, now our next job is to make this machine, suppose to to make this machine fail over. What I mean to say is, once we manually fail this, okay, what will happen, we want to see that. So currently if I go to my Windows failover cluster here, you can see that the owner is SQL AFCI. Okay, and the resources are being used. You can check that as well. I forgot to explain you about this. Okay, so we'll see the SQL agent and everything running. If suppose if something is not connecting, then you can come and check here where is the problem, or you can just expand and check the IP as well. Okay, similar ways, like it will give you a glance about that thing. Let's go back to summary, and currently you can see SQL ABFCI, SQL ABFCI is holding. Now I will turn off this machine and I will go back to SQL and let's see what will happen. So what I will do shutdown. Okay, continue, and this machine will shut down. Now if I go back to my SQL machine, and if I open Windows failover cluster, and if I come back to my SQL A node, as you can see, it started moving to SQL A and the status is pending. So it will take some time, like 1 or 2 minutes. And what will happen is, so that machine goes down. We have created one database. Now we are testing that the SQL failover cluster is working or not. Now you can see it is up and running. If I open configuration manager, sorry, I didn't refresh this. Let me refresh this, and you will see that particular SQL ADB installed here. I mean to say it is already there. SQL ADB is for named. Okay, forget about that. So this is MS SQL. It is running and everything is running. Now what I will do is, and SQL, it is pointing to node A. Let's connect to database and check whether I am able to test this server or not. Okay, the thing which we have created earlier. Let me refresh this, expand database. As you can see, we have SQL API test, and under tables we have all our data, which is department, which and all we created when we were in FCI. Okay, so this is the beauty of SQL failover cluster. So no matter how many nodes you have, if there is some sort of problem, the number of users or number of database will be saved and secure, because we have installed on the cluster node, shared cluster disk. That is the reason. Okay, so all the things are switching back and forth here and there. Okay, so as you can see, department and this table. So our cluster is perfectly fine and working. And I forgot to show you one more thing. If I go back to my drive where we have installed these nodes, okay, cluster storage, volume 1, volume 3, volume 4. If you remember, I have configured data, log and temp. And if I open this, and under this SQL ADB, again this is for SQLB, you will not be having this because this is upcoming videos. Okay, so just focus on this SQL ADB. We have created Microsoft SQL Server. Since it is named instance, that is the reason it is MS SQL Server. And if I open this, you will find all the backup data and all other things. As you can see, we created new database. You remember SQL FCI test, that is present here. So what it does is, when any other server goes down, the other server become active and it will make use of all this log file. So this is how it works. Okay, so I hope you got the idea. It is complete guide on how to create a SQL failover cluster from beginning to starting. So this is the end of our video. The next video, as I told, it is an additional video which I am going to put in this SQL series. Suppose if somebody want to install named instance apart from default instance. Okay, so I'll show you that as well, what I'm trying to talk. Let me go back to my document. So I hope you got the idea what I did here. Everything is working perfectly fine. So this is our failover cluster environment, how this works, and everything I explained you. Now let me go back to my document. Okay, what I was talking about. Okay, this is sample script. So as you can see, if you scroll down, this is a document SQL 12 which we were looking at. And if I go to my main document, you will see this configuration. If I scroll up a bit, you will find end of configuration. Before that, if you see 12 step add SQL Server node, which we just did and tested, but we did this for default instance, or you can go with named instance. So this is completely optional. Don't get confused that it is part of this SQL. Suppose if you are going with named instance, then what you have to do is you have to follow everything until here. Okay, and then configure the name instance similar to the way how we did for default instance. Okay, it is completely similar. There is no different apart from connecting and port, which we will talk about in our 13 video or article when we are configuring named instance, why the people use that, why generally organization prefer this. Okay, but this is the end of our article and video, end of our series. So I hope until now you are able to configure, you understood everything about Hyper-V virtual machine, NAT, iSCSI target and everything, IP configuration. And now we are good to configure your own SQL failover cluster on top of Windows failover cluster. Okay, if you have any doubt, comment. If you have any suggestions as well, please feel free to comment down in the YouTube channel, or you can give it a reply here. This is also sort of comment box only, you can put it here. If you have any suggestions, I will be happy to take it forward. And something if I have told wrong in this video or article, please feel free to correct me. Okay, even I'm a human, I can also do mistakes. And also, as I told that most of the time I followed one article or video, you can say. Even I have watched certain videos on YouTube, then I got this complete, I've created a playlist so that it should be easily understandable even by a newbie. Okay, so I hope you got the idea. Please subscribe to my channel, hit that bell icon for future upcoming videos. I'll be making TSGs, BI TSGs, and connectivity database system engineer kind of thing. And also my article, my website as well does the same thing. So I'll be posting regular posts here. As you can see, BI tools, DBA, Windows Server, Azure. I will create educational content on that as well. Okay, so you can just visit my website and also my YouTube channel for more information. We'll see you in next upcoming videos with a new fresh topic or tech videos.